Hello and welcome to our special coverage of the ongoing general and state elections. I am Vishal Dahiya and this is Bharat Bhagya Vidhata. In Rajyanama today, we will talk about the state of Tamil Nadu. So let's begin our special segment, Rajyanama. So when Tamil Nadu goes to polls in the second phase on 18th of April, it will be the first election in the post-Karunanidhi and post-Jayalalitha era. The political landscape of the state has changed beyond recognition after the death of these two iconic leaders. The BJP, which is in an alliance with the AIADMK this time, hopes to better its 2014 tally. The ruling AIADMK is but a pale shadow of its former self, and that has given the BJP some leverage in the state that it is contesting. The Congress, on the other hand, is back in an alliance after fighting it alone in 2014. The party hopes to ride on anti-incumbency sentiments against the AIADMK and a general trend in favor of the DMK.
As Tamil Nadu's 39 Lok Sabha seats vote in the second phase on April 18th, it's clear that this is an election unlike any the state has witnessed in recent decades. This is the first election in the absence of two towering Dravidian leaders, DMK's Karunanidhi and AIADMK's Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha's death had sent the party into a downward spiral and a split, leaving it but a pale shadow of the one that won 37 of the 39 seats in 2014. Even the language of the election has changed in the state, with national parties like the BJP and the Congress setting the agenda. New alliances have been formed. The BJP is with the AIADMK and Vijayakant's DMDK, while the mega opposition alliance, though led by the DMK, is rallying strongly behind the Congress. The issues in the state are also different and quite localized this time, from the protests against the Sterlite plant in Thoothukudi, NEET and the Kanyakumari port project, to the centre's stand against Jallikattu. Among the seats that will be closely watched are Sivaganga, Trichy, Theni, Madurai, Dharmapuri and Ramanathapuram. And that's because of one man, TTV Dinakaran, AIADMK rebel and Sasikala's nephew, who formed the Amma Makkal Munnetra Karagam or AMMK after he was expelled from the AIADMK. AMMK may well split votes of the AIADMK and end up helping a third candidate. Another unknown factor that has emerged ahead of the polls is the Makkal Needhi Mayyam, the party formed by actor-turned-politician Kamal Haasan, who's projecting himself as an alternative to both Dravidian parties and contesting all 39 seats on its own.
Okay, so for more on Tamil Nadu scenario, we have distinguished guests in the studio today, and one of them is joining us from Chennai as well. Let me start by introducing them to you. First, Mr. KG Suresh, senior journalist with us here in the studio. We also have with us Mr. Ganapathy Subramaniam, the Chief of Bureau of Puthiya Thalaimurai, and we are joined by Narayan Lakshman, the Associate Editor of The Hindu from Chennai. Welcome all of you gentlemen to Rajya Sabha TV studios. And before we start the discussion, let's take a look at what was the scenario in 2009 and 2014 when we are talking about the seats of Tamil Nadu. Over to you, Tina.
Well, thank you, Vishal, and I welcome all our viewers to Rajya Sabha TV's Election Data Center. As Vishal pointed out, for the two prominent parties in Tamil Nadu this time, DMK and AIADMK, it is going to be a litmus test to be contesting an election since the demise of two stalwarts, M. Karunanidhi and J. Jayalalitha. The vacuum is certainly being felt in the state, both by their parties as well as the electorate. But what's going to be the outlook of these elections is something that we'll have to wait for a few more weeks. But if we go by the previous results, this is how the parties performed in the last two general elections. In 2009, the AIADMK won 9 of the 39 seats. The BJP failed to win any parliamentary seat in the state back in 2009. The PMK claimed 1 seat. The DMK under M. Karunanidhi went on to win 18 seats, while the Congress also got 8 seats. The MDMK, CPI, CPIM and also the VCK got 1 seat each. With 9 seats, the AIADMK got about 22.88% of the votes polled. Although the BJP failed to open its account, it did get about 5% of the votes in Tamil Nadu 10 years ago in 2009. The PMK's vote share was less than the BJP at 4.5%, although it did win 1 seat in the state. The DMK's vote share was the highest in 2009 at 25.09%. The Congress got about 10% less votes than the DMK. Its vote share was 15.03%. The MDMK got 3.66% of the votes, the CPI 2.85%, the CPIM 2.2% and VCK 2.4%. However, 5 years later in 2005, J. Jayalalitha led her party to a massive victory. This was when the AIADMK won 37 of the 39 seats. The BJP also opened its account in the state in 2014, winning 1 seat, while the remaining 1 seat was won by the PMK. The DMK, the Congress, MDMK as well as the DMDK had no MPs in the 16th Lok Sabha. And of the total votes polled then in 2014, the AIADMK got 44.9% in 2014. The BJP improved its vote share marginally to 5.5%. The DMK got 23.9%, although they did not translate into any seat. The Congress's vote share then was a little above 4%. The remaining votes were shared by PMK, MDMK and the DMDK. Back to you, Vishal.
Well, thank you so much, Tina, out there for explaining to us as to how it happened in 2009 and 2014. So let's begin with you, Mr. Suresh. Entirely a different ball game this time around in Tamil Nadu when we compare it. When we compare it with either 2014 or 2009, and specifically when you talk about 2014, the most important factor is that neither of the two stalwarts of the Dravidian politics, that's M. Karunanidhi and J. Jayalalitha, are around this time.
Yes, that certainly is one of the biggest factors in this election, that neither Jayalalitha is there nor Karunanidhi is there. Let us also remember, Vishal, that unlike the rest of the country, national issues usually doesn't matter much so far as elections in Tamil Nadu are concerned. And rather for the entire south, that is the scenario, with the exception of Karnataka, where BJP has made deep inroads. BJP is also seen as a North Indian party. It's not seen as one of one local party, as is the case with others. So BJP certainly has to ride on either DMK or AIADMK to get its support for its national government. Now, but having said that, almost there was a viewpoint couple of months back that DMK is going to make it this time in a big way. Because at least MK Stalin had a presence even when Karunanidhi was around. Unlike EPS or OPS, who don't have any grassroots level support base. But then very, very cleverly, the BJP, AIADMK, the PMK, the DMDK, they all came together and stitched an alliance which is now offering a strong resistance to the DMK-led alliance. So there the scenario has changed. No doubt that the stalwarts are missing. But then what was supposed to be a cakewalk few months back is no more a cakewalk. It's going to be, tough, at least in many places.
Okay.
But there are, of course, many other factors which we would discuss.
Okay, we'll come to those as well, and we will talk about the alliances in detail as well. Let me bring in Ganapathy here. Ganapathy, do you agree with what Mr. Suresh is pointing out, that the DMK might seemingly have an upper hand there, but this alliance between AIA, DMK, BJP and PMK and DMDK is, has put up a strong alternative out there?
Vishal, one important point we have to remember is that along with this Lok Sabha election, we also have a mini general election for the Tamil Nadu Assembly.
18 assembly seats.
18 assembly seats going to election in one go along with the second phase, and in the final phase another 4 seats are also going to election. So in all 22 seats for the Tamil Nadu Assembly are also going to election now, and the results will be declared on the 23rd. The AIDMK is more concerned about what's going to happen in these 22 seats, because they are now ruling Tamil Nadu, and which way will these 22 seats go will decide whether their government will strengthen further or will be weakened further. So their priority, first priority, is to win maximum number of seats in the 22 assembly segments that are going to election. Then when it comes to the Lok Sabha election, they have given therefore more leeway to their partners, especially the PMK and DMDK, so that their support will be helpful in winning the assembly seats.
The same kind of strategy has been adopted by DMK as well.
Absolutely. DMK is also focusing on the assembly. So therefore, they have also for the first time a party which you mentioned about 2 elections ago won 18 seats, and another party which in the last election swept
37 out of 39.
Seats. Now both are contesting only 20 seats, roughly half the number of seats. So the focus is so much on the 22 assembly seats. One party, if it sweeps all the 22 assembly seats, then it will shake this government and overthrow this government. Another party, even if it wins half of the 22 seats, will strengthen its government and will last its full term. So the focus is a little skewed here in favor of the assembly for both the regional bigwigs. For the national parties, of course, the Lok Sabha seats are important. And let's remember that in 2014, the BJP-led NDA alliance was the number 2 in Tamil Nadu. AIDMK swept 37 seats, but number 2 was the NDA with 2 seats. DMK and Congress did not get any seat at all. So therefore, what is going to be the kind of performance in the Lok Sabha election of 2009? Probably the NDA and BJP now, along with this alliance, will probably do better than what people think.
Okay, but one very important question here, and Ganapathy, I would want to start with you on that, related to this aspect only, is the fact that the way both AIA, DMK and DMK are seemingly focusing more on those 22 assembly segments. Is this some sort of indication that those who are running the party, both the parties, the AIA, DMK and DMK, after Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, are more concerned about securing power in the state rather than, spending energy on Lok Sabha seats, because this is one chance where they can have, that maneuverable elbow room in the state?
Exactly, Vishal. That is their main base. So whichever party is going to be in power in the state is going to have a leeway at the center also and strengthen their party, etc. As Suresh ji said, this is the first time we are going to see DMK without Karunanidhi, AIDMK without Jayalalitha. How are they going to fare in a big election? So in this test, they don't want to fail. And the process was initiated by the AIDMK. AIDMK said, first we have to save our government and strengthen ourselves in the state. So they said, don't bother about the Lok Sabha seats, give more number of seats to the alliance and have a big alliance. And then the DMK also did not have an option, they had to follow. So therefore, as Suresh ji said, this time it is a open door contest, many interesting possibilities are
but let's not forget, now that we are talking about those 22 seats, let's not forget a third factor as well. That's TTV Dinakaran, the AMMK, the person because of whom this entire bipole was necessitated. So how do you see, Mr. Suresh, this third factor, specifically in those assembly segments?
No, Dinakaran is certainly going to damage AIA DMK rather than the DMK. You see, that is for certain, because almost the voter base is almost the same. Please remember, Dinakaran is also banking on the legacy of Jayalalitha, and so is the AIADMK. But generally in Tamil Nadu, the general tendency has been that except of course there have been circumstances, you would see that people generally tend to vote for the party that they have voted in the past. So you would see unless there is a anti-incumbency, strong anti-incumbency, like like DMK was wiped out and that kind of a thing. But as such, except the absence of Jayalalitha, they are continuing with all the welfare schemes that Jayalalitha had started. Rather, they have been offering more soaps, more freebies. OPS and EPS have been trying to compensate the absence of Jayalalitha with all that. So there will always be a core voter base which will stand by AIADMK, but nevertheless, Dinakaran is a challenger.
TTV Dinakaran is a challenger. Let's bring in one more guest here, Mr. Narayan Lakshman from Chennai, the associate editor of The Hindu. Mr. Lakshman, two important and two big questions here is, one, the scenario, how it has changed this time around in this election after, Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha, both of them are not around in these polls. And also, the assembly by polls seemingly hold much importance for both the, regional parties, DMK and AIADMK.
Absolutely, Vishal. To answer your first question, yes, it is the power vacuum that has emerged in state politics after the demise of Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi respectively, which has really made the situation quite fluid and could produce an outcome which is actually different from what we have seen in the past, which basically comprised of, as one of our guests mentioned, alternating power or swing votes between one party and then the next, and so on. In this case, we may actually see something more of a split vote. And the reason for that is as follows. On the one hand, you have a power vacuum that has enveloped both parties. However, the AIADMK, you could make an argument, has been hit somewhat worse than the DMK. And the reason is, in the AIADMK, Jayalalitha's own style of governance within her party was to degrade 4 levels of leadership beneath her. And there was therefore no capable sort of charismatic leader of her caliber to take over the reins after she passed on. And in the DMK, contrarily, yes, there are questions to be asked whether Mr. Stalin has the same capability as his father, who was an absolute master of party organization and mobilization during elections, not to mention his long history with the Dravidian movement. So that is the challenge for Mr. Stalin. But having said that, within the DMK, there was an orderly succession process. A succession planning happened. And although there was a small challenge from his brother, Alagiri, Stalin quite neatly stepped into the shoes of his father and has been accepted by the majority of his party men.
And that has not been the case in
their
AIADMK.
Challenges will be pure election challenges. Can they be popular in the southern districts and so forth? So that is their challenge. The ADMK's challenge is on a completely different scale. They are in slow motion implosion. And that is because of, as you correctly pointed out and your guest did as well, the TTV Dinakaran factor. OPS himself rebelled from the party and left the party when the Sasikala clan was there, and then came back and made an uneasy truce with EPS. We have to see how long that holds. And thirdly, they have extreme insecurity over the states that are over the seats that are going for by polls because their whole governance model has been undercut in a sense. And performance on the ground of this existing state government is highly questionable and has many critics. So they have a lot of uncomfortable questions to answer. That's the way I see it going forward.
One more important aspect here, Mr. Lakshman, is the third factor, that is TTV Dinakaran. When we are talking about, these 22 assembly segments, how significant do you believe this triangular contest is going to be, and whom it might end up benefiting? The DMK or, the AIADMK will easily ride over the TTV factor?
No, that's a great question again, Vishal. I think the TTV Dinakaran factor, again, just going by the candidates he's selected and placed, he's placed strong candidates in wherever the AIADMK has positioned theirs. It's like a game of chess. He is going to firmly cut into their vote, as indeed might other parties. There are parties such as the PMK, which are strong in the northwestern part of the state. There are others, the Dalit parties and others who are stronger in certain regions. But overall, the Dinakaran factor will cut into the vote of the AIADMK is what we project. And at the same time, the DMK will have to prove its own strength down south. But there's no party or force that is really taking away seats from its share at this point.
So almost, the similar way of looking at the scenario when we're talking about the assembly polls, by-polls rather, specifically in those 22 seats. And quite interesting here that there are 39 Lok Sabha seats and 22 assembly. And both the regional players, which are the, lead parties in their respective alliances, are giving much importance to the assembly as well. Let's, quickly look at how alliances are placed in the state of Tamil Nadu, as Mr. Suresh was also mentioning in the initial comments. Tina, could you take us through the way alliances are placed in the state of Tamil Nadu this time around?
Certainly, Vishal. Let's talk about the alliances in the state of Tamil Nadu and how they have changed in the past one decade. Let's begin with the 2009 figures first. 10 years ago, the BJP was a virtual nobody in the state of Tamil Nadu. In fact, there were two major alliances back then. In 2009, the UPA and the Third Front. The UPA, which would go on to win that election and also form a government at the centre, had in it the Congress Party, the DMK and the VCK. Together, the alliance won 27 of the 39 seats in the state of Tamil Nadu. The second alliance was the Third Front, which was made up of AIADMK, MDMK, PMK and the left parties, the CPI and the CPIM. Cut to 2014, when the NDA had formed a stronger alliance. The BJP led the alliance, which had in it the PMK, the DMDK, the MDMK and several other smaller parties. The DMK and Congress had parted ways, with the DMK forming the Democratic Progressive Alliance with the help of other parties. Both the Congress as well as the AIADMK fought the polls alone that time, with the latter sweeping the polls, winning 37 of the 39 seats. Now for this election, the BJP and the AIADMK have come together. They are part of the NDA and are joined by the PMK, the DMDK, TMC among other parties. While the DMK and the Congress are also back together under the UPA banner, the left parties this time have joined the UPA and also have several other smaller parties. But there's also a third player in the state of Tamil Nadu this time, which is the AMMK alliance. Remember, the AMMK was formed by TTV Dinakaran, who broke away from the AIADMK. The party is fielding 38 of the 39 seats in the state, Vishal.
Okay, thank you so much, Tina. So there it is, a lot many players and a lot has changed in terms of alliances as well. If we look at 2014 specifically, let me begin with you, Ganapathy. One significant aspect here is that in 2014, the Congress and AIADMK contested all alone. This time around, both of them are back in their alliances. And AIADMK is now leading the alliance, which was in 2014 led by BJP, more so almost similar parties. So how do you think, both these alliances are faring when we look at, their strengths and their weaknesses on the ground?
The AIADMK, even though we assume that there is a core vote bank which will stick to the AIADMK, is suffering from two major drawbacks. One is TTV Dinakaran. TTV Dinakaran will definitely cut away the votes from the AIADMK vote bank. And number two is the BJP. The alliance with AIADMK, will BJP be able to transfer votes to the AIADMK, or is it be only one-way traffic of AIADMK votes getting transferred to BJP? That's one question, because BJP and AIADMK alliance is not probably liked by many people in the AIADMK. So it might not be actually a plus factor, it could be a minus factor. But to compensate this, the AIADMK now has PMK and Vijaykanth and the smaller parties like TMC along with it. So how much does this arithmetic work? Whatever is being taken away by TTV Dinakaran and also because of the people who don't like BJP, will it be compensated by the other allies? That's the big question. If that is managed, then AIADMK will definitely give a tough fight in this election as well, like they did single-handedly last time. But otherwise, like when MGR era ended, we saw MGR was the undisputed leader of the AIADMK. When he died, after that there was a split in the party. And that time what happened was, initially they managed to stick to power for some time, but then in the next election, it was the DMK which won power. So which is what people are expecting to see this time. But then the unknown factors this time and the alliances are making it more complicated. Then apart from the Kamal factor that you mentioned, there is also a Rajini factor. Rajinikanth has recently appreciated one of the points in the BJP election agenda, that is about the water crisis, the steps to solve that.
Okay.
So probably these are small things which put together may make the machine run in a different way than what we actually think.
Okay, so it might not be, what you're saying is it might not be safer to assume that the way it happened after the MGR era ended, the repetition might not be that easier and that smoother after the Jayalalitha era has ended. And on the other side, Karunanidhi is also not there. So let me bring in Lakshman here first. Mr. Lakshman, how do you see, these alliances on both sides, specifically if you look at the alliance led by the DMK and AIADMK, and also, the other factors thrown in this election, the new political outfit launched by Kamal Hassan?
Yeah, I think these are all going to be factors, Vishal. Certainly Kamal Hassan, as you've been mentioning, he himself has withdrawn at the 11th hour, and that was not a good move in my view, because obviously his party, all the candidates he was fielding would have drawn confidence from him being there as a contestant in the election. So that is going to be a limited factor, I think, which may take away some share of the votes. It's in the case of Kamal Hassan's party, the Makkal Needhi Mayam, it's hard to say which side it will take votes away from. As we said earlier, the AMMK and TTV Dinakaran are more likely to take away the votes of them that would have otherwise gone to the AIADMK rather than the DMK. Now, I agree with most of what Mr. Ganapathy just said, but I think that he was also right, particularly about people being uncomfortable about the BJP being an alliance partner with the ADMK, and that applies even to members of the ADMK itself. I think we have to mention that in the broader arc of history, the BJP has, at the brand of politics, Hindutva politics, North Indian politics, even if you look at the Congress as a national party, they have been viewed with some measure of suspicion in Tamil Nadu ever since 1967 when the Congress was defeated by the DMK. So I think that context, while the Dravidian movement has changed shape considerably, it has not entirely lost its echo. So even the youth of Tamil Nadu today, while they may not want to talk so much about only Tamil language as an important factor and so forth, they still feel there is something unique in the Tamil voter and the needs of the Tamil people, and they may feel that a strong southern voice of the Tamil people is better poised to serve them than a party which is building alliance with a northern Hindi-based party. So in that sense, I think a lot of the sentimental vote could go towards the DMK. The real question is, on the ground, who also has the money muscle to translate this? Let's be honest, money does change hands during elections. And the ADMK's big advantage in allying with the BJP is that the BJP is supposed to be one of the richest parties, not just in India, but in the whole world. And they can certainly bankroll a lot of victories in smaller constituencies. And that could really, mix up the game for the DMK considerably.
So as far as the money aspect is concerned, I'm pretty sure the Election Commission and the authorities will do their bit and part to ensure that, it is a free and fair poll out there in Tamil Nadu as well. But on the BJP aspect, which both Ganapathy and Mr. Lakshman pointed out, Mr. Suresh, do you think that, the same way as both of them are saying, that it would be a bit of a drag for the
by and large, I agree with both the, my fellow panelists, except that, I feel that times are changing. The kind of, when Dravidian movement was at its peak, the kind of anti-Hindi, anti-North Indian, that sentiment is particularly among the younger generation is not that strong. Today you see a lot of Hindi newspapers even in cities like Coimbatore, where Rajasthan Patrika has an edition of 40,000 print this thing. So I think that that kind of, now you see it more in places like Bangalore, where some Kannada activists are trying to remove the signs on the metro and all that. That you don't see that kind of a today Hindi films are being screened in cinemas in Tamil Nadu. So that kind of an anti-Hindi thing is not there. Number one. Number two, somewhere there is also a constituency which also believes that it is good to have a link with a national party, so that, you know, it can take care of Tamil Nadu's issue. For example, if you don't say NEET is one of the big issues, the medical entrance examination. So obviously, Tamil Nadu as a state alone cannot take that decision, you know. You need the support of a government at the center.
Okay.
So obviously, you see, that is not whether it is with regard to the Congress or whether it is with regard to the BJP. That kind of an antipathy is certainly not there now. There are certain still reservations about imposition of Hindi and all those things are there. There are other issues like, you know, the firecracker ban on the Supreme Court order. That has also affected a lot of people. So those issues are there. The grievances are there. But having said that, the earlier antagonism is no more there. So BJP is seen more as a natural ally of the AIADMK than the DMK. For the simple reason that Jayalalitha, despite the Dravidian background and all that, please remember that she supported the Ram temple, you know, construction at Ayodhya. Again, you know, she has been playing soft Hindutva.
And then she was part of the NDA government as well.
Absolutely. You know. So, you know, they have been allies. So, that is not something that has come about after EPS and OPS took charge. Okay. This has been something which has been on for quite some time now.
Okay.
So that kind of a vehement anti-BJPism is not there.
Okay. So the times are changing and both the national parties do also have a lot at stake in the state of Tamil Nadu. We'll continue this conversation and let's take a short break here. After the break, we will talk about some key constituencies, key contenders, as well as some seats where it is a direct fight between AIADMK and DMK. Stay tuned.
Watch In Depth with me, Tina Jha, at 6 p.m.
Grandfather told that he escaped by hiding himself under the stage. Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal, they were to preside that meeting, but they were arrested on the 10th of April actually.
We cannot understand Jallianwala Bagh in isolation. It has to be seen in the context of the political developments in India at that time and also what was happening in Punjab.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. So we are today talking about the southern state of Tamil Nadu, which has 39 Lok Sabha seats which will go to polls. Let's now take a look at those specific seats where it is a direct fight between the two major regional outfits there, that is the AIADMK and DMK. Over to you, Tina.
See, Vishal, what I want to tell you and also share with my viewers is that there is a very interesting element in the elections this time around in Tamil Nadu. Even though the AIADMK and the DMK are the two prominent parties being seen as the ones leading their respective alliances in the state, both parties do not have that many head-to-head battles this time around. In fact, the traditional Dravidian rivals will be face-to-face on only 8 of the 39 seats in Tamil Nadu this time. Both AIADMK and DMK are contesting on 20 seats each, allotting the remaining 19 to their respective allies. The seats where they will be meeting head-on include Chennai South, Kanchipuram, Mayiladuthurai, Salem, Tiruvannamalai, the Nilgiris, Pollachi and also Tirunelveli. Within the NDA, of the rest of the 19 seats, the BJP will be contesting on 5, the PMK on 7 and the DMDK on 4, with the others being contested by 3 other smaller parties. While in the UP alliance, 9 seats will be contested by the Congress, 2 each by the CPI and CPIM and the rest by several other smaller parties. Vishal.
Okay, thank you so much. So there you have it. Despite being the lead partners in both the alliances, there are just 8 seats where these 2 lead partners are head-to-head. What does that say, Mr. Suresh?
Well, absolutely. That again only highlights what has been discussed earlier, that their entire focus is to secure Tamil Nadu first. So both parties are focusing on those 18 and rather 22 seats. Somehow they want to consolidate their position, and based on that, they know that their bargaining with whoever is in power in center will be enhanced. But having said that, there is no doubt that, again, there are very interesting aspects if you look at it. In neighboring Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, you have Rahul Gandhi going to Wayanad, and the CPM and CPI, the leftists are totally up in arms. But in Tamil Nadu, they are all on the same boat. Now, these are the contradictions that you see, in coalition politics. Again, if you look at it, that you see, please remember that apart from these Dravidian loyalties, there are also very narrow caste-based loyalties are also at play. That also one has to remember. There are also issues on which what steps people have taken. You see, there is at the end of the day, AIADMK has been in power for quite some time now. So there is it's not about just the absence of Jayalalitha, but also there is a certain level of anti-incumbency which is there. And that the Congress and DMK alliance is trying to club with the anti-incumbency against the central government also. So they are highlighting issues like even GST demonetization, which did have its impact in Tamil Nadu. And then whether it is Cyclone Oki or the proposed Chennai Salem highway, in which land acquisition and other issues are also there. So all these issues are playing, plus the caste issues. So all these things are at play. But certainly it is something that is going to be very interesting, that finally which factors are going to play in the minds of the voter, other than what our friend from Chennai said about the monetary and other parts. Yes.
So what are the factors which are going to play a big on the mind? And that brings us to the issues, Ganapathy. And in the initial part of the discussion, before we went into the break, both of you pointed out that in Dravidian politics, mostly it has been about local issues. So what are the major issues which you believe this time around are going to hog the limelight in these elections and might influence the voters when they go and cast their vote?
See, even though there are local issues, there are many issues which are common to other parts of India. Like for example, water crisis. Tamil Nadu is one of the states suffering very year after year due to drought, etc. And even drinking water is a problem in many. And let's remember that the election is happening in the peak of summer, and people will definitely remember all this against the state government and also against the central government and the parties ruling at the state and the center. Then, as Mr. Lakshman pointed out, a very important factor is the money power, which we have been seeing in the last few elections. And if you see the election commission data, the highest amount of cash as well as gold seized, etc., most of the time in Tamil Nadu. Sometimes it's so much that couple of elections have also been cancelled or postponed, etc. So that bad a situation. Then another important factor is the caste equations in various parts. So therefore, what's true for say North Tamil Nadu may be different, in South Tamil Nadu, etc. But overall, there is a lot of resentment over unemployment, lack of economic growth, etc. And also, there is a complaint that even central government jobs in Tamil Nadu are going away to people from outside the state. That could be for various reasons, including maybe some corruption, etc. We don't know. But all these factors build up. But when it finally comes to the crunch, these factors will play a part and other factors will also play a part. Like for example, like Mr. Suresh said, how are the left and the Congress going to work together? Will they be wholeheartedly supporting each other? And there are contests where in Coimbatore, BJP candidate is facing a communist candidate. So definitely the BJP candidate will have an edge. But in another constituency, BJP candidate may be facing a Congress candidate or a DMK candidate, where the DMK candidate will probably be stronger.
Okay, so it will vary from constituency to constituency as well. But Mr. Lakshman, with respect to the issues which are likely to hold sway in these elections, do you see a bit of a change in the Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi era and this election? Because this is going to be the first time again when the state will be going to polls without Jayalalitha and without Karunanidhi.
Absolutely, Vishal. I was just thinking that is the perfect question, because I think in terms of what we said about the Dravidian movement and how it has changed shape, and in the youth of the young Tamil person today might not have the same views as they used to in the 1950s and 60s. The fact is that the sheer sentimental attachment to the movement and what it stood for has also taken a severe blow with the passage of, or the demise of, these two titans of that movement. Like it or not, both Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi were born in that movement. They were the very, very stalwart leaders of that movement. So with their passage and with leaders who are much weaker, with feet of clay almost, I think there is an elephant in the room which has not been addressed for decades, which the people of Tamil Nadu actually have a chance to address for the first time, and that is rampant corruption. This is what we touched upon when we talked about cash exchanging hands during elections. And for your information, almost every day now we are seeing reports of police stopping vehicles with anywhere from 2 to 10 crores or even more in suitcases going around the cities and other places. So from this small scale of corruption to mega corruption, which relate to construction projects, infrastructure projects, extortion, which has driven industries out of this state to neighboring states. This issue, all these issues were in the background so long as these charismatic, powerful leaders ruled the state. Okay. Because they ruled on the sheer basis of their charisma and the control over their party men and the way that money was distributed. Without them in the picture, it is actually a freedom for the first time, a degree of freedom that the Tamil people have, where they can actually vote on issues like drinking water. They can vote on issues like are you actually improving infrastructure across the state? Are you bringing jobs to the state? Are you bringing industries? This is a state that is suffering terrible economic hardship. And for the first time, people across the state, regardless of party affiliation, have a chance to address these issues.
Okay. So corruption, according to Lakshman, is going to be a major issue. Mr. Suresh, do you also agree that it's going to be a mix of national and local issues?
Undoubtedly, you see, as was rightly pointed out, though of course corruption has been a discussion point, but then these stalwarts, they were able to, their very sheer presence would diminish many of these issues. Now that they are gone, people have, and there are no giants around, so people have all the freedom under the sun to think about all those issues. Please remember, there are also other issues which may not be that big, but say, as I mentioned, the NEET. That is an issue which people, particularly the younger generation, is bothered about. There is the Pollachi, molestation incident, which again is something that bothers a lot of people with regard to women's safety in the state and all that. There are also issues, say, with regard to the firecrackers, the units that have been shut down and all that, the relief and rehabilitation in the Cyclone Oki. So there are other issues, the anti-sterilite protests. That is also one issue that has bearing, about industrialization, and that somewhere is also about corruption. So
and NEET you had already initially mentioned.
So these issues are also going to find resonance in the way the people are going to vote in Tamil Nadu.
Okay, let's now take a look at quickly, before we come to the end of the show, quickly let's take a look at the star candidates, the key constituencies as well. And if we begin with the BJP, Mr. Suresh, then there are two constituencies which hold a lot of significance for the BJP. One is Coimbatore, the other is Kanyakumari. While in Coimbatore it is BJP versus the CPM, in Kanyakumari it is a direct fight between the BJP and the Congress, both the national parties. So how do you see this time around?
These are considered, even in a way, the communal weak spots in the state of Tamil Nadu. So obviously, I think that, and the BJP has a strong presence both in Coimbatore and in Kanyakumari. Both are bordering Kerala also. That is also interesting. So I think that somewhere, BJP certainly has an advantage in these, but whether BJP is able to come out with, earlier also it had 1 seat, but 1 or 2 seats. So maybe this time, in the absence of those stalwarts, will BJP be able to make inroads is something that has to be seen. But certainly they are leaving no stone sparing no stone. Okay. So I think that they are out to win these 2 seats, and they hope that, because adjoining Kanyakumari you have Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala, where again BJP is banking on Kumanam Rajshekharan as a very prominent candidate against Shashi Tharoor. So there is a linkage, So similarly, when you talked about that CPM, CPI and Congress, this thing, when Rahul Gandhi is contesting from Wayanad, it is adjoining the Nilgiris district of Tamil Nadu. So all these things
will play an important role. Ganapathy, if you look at from another seat from the Congress's perspective, one obviously they're locking horns with the BJP, but another one is Shivaganga, P. Chidambaram's son Karthi Chidambaram. So do you think it'll be easier for him this time around, or it's going to be really difficult, because it looks like it's again Congress versus BJP there in Shivaganga, H. Raja versus Karthi?
Yeah, no doubt Shivaganga is a very high profile constituency. One, because Congress candidate selection itself was full of controversy, till the last moment. This was the last seat to be announced. All other seats they had announced the candidate. This one was announced the last. And the candidate who is fighting from BJP is H. Raja, who is equally controversial. Like people who are of a secular mindset have a lot of hatred for Mr. Raja and the way he talks, etc. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. Karthi Chidambaram, let's remember, last time in the 2014 election also he fought and he came 3rd. But that time the Congress was contesting separately. AIDMK won and the DMK was in the 2nd place, etc. Now, this time we have to see whether the DMK Congress combination is able to help Karthi Chidambaram to win the seat, because H. Raja, despite all the alliances, etc., whether how much of the votes from the allies will transfer to him is a big question, because one major issue with BJP is that it's not just being looked at as a Hindi party or etc., but it's also the secular issue. The DMK and its allies keep on saying that we are secular, the other side is not secular. That's a major complaint against them, allegation against them. So therefore, it will be a very interesting contest.
And what might be the important seats to watch out for when we talk about AIA, DMK and DMK's representatives?
Yeah, there are many important candidates, like Dayanidhi Maran is contesting, Thambi Durai is contesting. Many of the supporters of OPS are contesting this time. OPS' son is contesting from Teni, and we also have Manoj Pandyan, who is an important supporter of OPS, contesting from Tirunelveli, etc. These are all important fights where there are a lot of interplay will be there. EPS candidates, how much are they opposed by Dinakaran? OPS candidates, how much are they?
Thambi Durai as well in the field out there, and Ambumani Ramadas as well. So all these are going to be important seats to watch out for. Let's hear it from Mr. Lakshman. Mr. Lakshman, what would you be keeping your eyes on in terms of the key constituencies and key candidates this time around?
Yeah, Vishal, I would actually definitely be keeping my eye on Kanyakumari and even Shivaganga and wherever the BJP is, because what fascinates me is how powerful they are. And I don't just mean, like I said, the money power or anything, but even as a Hindutva-based party, they have, look at what happened in Kerala. They have so successfully tipped the narrative in their favor, even though for all practical purposes, they are a non-entity in that state. The Sabarimala issue was so heavily politicized that in some way, whatever Rahul Gandhi says about, he wants to be standing in the south, therefore he picked Wayanad, he is very acutely now aware of how strong Hindu sentiments or Hindu voter sentiments have been whipped up because of Sabarimala. Okay. Similarly, given the secular nature of the Dravidian politics, for example, Stalin made some comments on the Hindu ritual of marriage. And on social media, that got picked up and went viral, and the comments were viciously attacked, and everyone is being put on the back foot and made to bow to soft Hindutva at least, if they want to keep the BJP at bay. So I'm really watching to see how the last bastion of Dravidianism or any sort of political force that goes against the BJP is losing ground as the BJP's own influence expands in all of these constituencies.
Okay, and then what's your call on the two other players apart from these two alliances? That's the TTV and Kamal Hassan as well. Do you think they will be able to go ahead and leave some imprint in these elections and might win a seat or two?
My own feeling, Vishal, I'm going to stick my neck out here, is that I don't think the Makkalnidhi Mayam will do well at all. I think already, while they were a very well-intentioned party and very clear about the principles of their manifesto, they came out early. They organized their party very quickly. This 11th hour departure of Kamal Hassan himself from there, combined with the overall lack of popularity, does not bode well for them.
Okay.
And the AMMK, on the other hand, I think will do well. I don't think they will have anything like a statewide impact, but in certain pockets, likely in both in the Chennai area as well as in the Mannargudi area, which is where the Sasikala clan is strong. Those two areas, I expect AMMK to do well.
Okay, wonderful. Mr. Suresh, concluding comments from you before we bring this to an end. It's going to be an interesting
certainly interesting, but as was rightly pointed out, Kamal Hassan is going to be Tamil Nadu's Chiranjeevi. So I don't see him making much of a dent. But yes, Dinakaran is somebody we would really be watching, looking out for. And how BJP is going to make deep inroads. And certainly, please remember, 39 seats is not...
It's a big number.
It's a big number, and it will certainly, given the challenges that we see at the national level, we believe that, I personally believe that whoever gets a majority of those seats will certainly play a critical role in Delhi.
Okay, but Dinakaran's, gain might eventually be AIADMK's loss as well. Will it play out that way?
Definitely, it's an important factor. For example, one important constituency we have to look at is Thoothukudi. Like Mr. Suresh said about the firing, Sterlite controversy, etc. There are people who are in favor of Sterlite, who are more people who are opposing Sterlite. And the candidates there are one, Kanimazhi is Karunanidhi's daughter, and the candidate opposing her is Tamilisai Soundararajan, who is the state BJP president. So it will be an interesting contest to watch because of the Sterlite controversy and the firing incident, and also because of the people who are involved. So there are many battles going on in Tamil Nadu, and the assembly elections are actually really being the force. If there is a 2014 election and then there's a 2016 election, assembly election. If you compare the two, the DMK did much better in the assembly election than in the Lok Sabha election. So that could be a factor. Now, both are getting combined, and that might make a lot of difference.
Okay, so clearly, as our panelists have pointed out, and the way we have had a look at the facts and figures, the data starting from 2009 onwards, it is going to be an interesting electoral battle in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, which has 39 Lok Sabha seats. But as our guests are pointing out, there are several mini electoral battles also being fought within the state of Tamil Nadu, and significantly, all eyes will also be on those 22 assembly segments, which will see by-polls happening during these elections as well. And interestingly, both the regional players, the dominant regional players, AIADMK and DMK, are seemingly more interested and putting more focus on those 22 assembly seats. So let's wait and watch as to how the people of Tamil Nadu vote, and we'll get to know the final picture on 23rd of May. We'll continue this special edition on the coverage of election, and we'll keep on bringing you one state after the other, one more state tomorrow. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.